Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to kick off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session today. We are going to be talking you through a bit more information and answering any questions that you might have about our new apprenticeship programs that we're going to be offering. So I'll just start off by making some quick introductions. A lot of you will know me already. Hi, I'm Claudia. So I'm the director of Fosse Academy. On the call today, we've also got Leslie, who will shortly be joining us as our head of apprenticeships, Simon, who's our head of training that a lot of you will know, and Danny, who is our lead client partner as well. So you'll be hearing from the four of us today about answering some of the questions that you might have when it comes to all things apprenticeships and how you can continue to develop your learning. We're just going to start off by talking everyone through what we're going to cover on the course on the call today. So the first piece we're going to cover is what courses are available, followed by some information about the time commitments and how it works. Then, if you're interested, how to speak to your manager, and then answering any questions that you might have. So I just wanted to start off by giving a bit of an overview about this really exciting involvement in Fosse Academy's capabilities. So a lot of you will know Fosse Academy as a program that we started 6 years ago to train the next generation of technologists. A lot of you have been through that program and have come out the other side, or might still be associates going through that program as well. At the beginning of this year, we had some really exciting news that we've now been approved as an apprenticeship provider. And what that means is that we can work with you to continue your learning through qualified apprenticeship programs. We're really, really excited about what this means in terms of the next offering that we'll be able to have as Fosse Academy. And today, we wanted to offer this to you first. So we wanted our associates to be one of the first groups of individuals to learn more about the apprenticeship programs that we're going to be offering. In terms of our apprenticeship offering, what's really exciting is that it's much broader than what we've ever been able to offer before. So in the past, and the program that you will have all been through will have been all about gearing you up for a role in tech. And a lot of the programs that we ran have all been very tech focused. Now we're taking that tech focused background and we're now applying that to a much broader range of programs and courses. So our offering from an apprenticeship perspective is going to have two parts. One part is the technical programs that we're going to be talking through, and there are 4 specific programs that we're going to be launching at the beginning, which we're going to talk you through later today. And then the second part is we're going to be launching as well at the same time business-wide programs, which are geared towards the wider business. So think about your operations teams, the finance teams that you work with, the customer service teams that you work with. And because of our background as a technology provider, we are creating AI-enhanced programs, meaning that every program that people do, we're thinking about the future of skills, the future of work, and how AI is going to really impact the day-to-day. So I guess there's 2 parts to this. The first part is that if you're interested in coming on an apprenticeship, or someone in your team is interested in coming on an apprenticeship, then have a listen to some of the information. But also, if there are people in your wider business that you think might be interested, please do share the information, because this isn't just for your tech teams, it's also for the wider business as well. And some of those programs that we're going to be running are everything from foundational business through to customer service, business administration programs, but all with that AI spin. Now, these are the first 4 technical programs that we'll be launching. So I'm just going to hand over to Simon, who is going to be running through these, because these are the ones that might be of interest to you to join, or other individuals as part of your teams.
Thanks, Claude. Hi, everyone. Nice to see so many familiar faces on here. So we've selected these first 4 courses to offer because, broadly speaking, they replicate lots of the content that we already deliver on the course, and they also replicate lots of the jobs that you're currently in. So they work alongside the roles that you're currently doing anyway. I'm not sure how familiar people are with apprenticeships, but broadly speaking, each of the apprenticeships has a set of core knowledge that goes with it, core skills, and core behaviors that also goes with it. And effectively, what we do over the duration of the apprenticeship is teach those knowledge, skills, and behaviors to you. Um, each different apprenticeship requires you to learn more about a particular area and build on your own core knowledge within that particular area. And then, as well as that, it expects you to practice those skills on a day-to-day basis in your current work. So if, for example, you're on the data analyst apprenticeship, you would, of course, be getting better over the duration of the apprenticeship, the core skills and knowledge that we were teaching you and kind of exposing you to, as well as, of course, the ones that you would just encounter in your day-to-day work anyway. The final sort of little section of knowledge of the apprenticeship that you would go through is a series of assessments as we were teaching you the knowledge, skills, and behaviors. And those assessments can take multiple different forms. They're not all kind of written assessments. They can take the form of, for example, one-to-one kind of assignments, presentations, tests where we ask you to build out something that might be particularly pertinent to that piece of knowledge, etc., etc. So all of that would be laid out for you at the start of the course, and you'd work through those through the duration of your kind of day-to-day life. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about time commitments outside of that in a second. But the core thing to remember really is ultimately that what this does is builds on and embeds kind of your existing knowledge that you're picking up anyway in your day-to-day work. So what does it mean in terms of time? And that's kind of really the big question, I think, that lots of people have. Well, each apprenticeship is split down into somewhere between 14 and 16 kind of separate pieces of knowledge, separate modules that we've broken it all down into. Each of those modules is roughly a month in terms of thinking about the program as a whole. And what we say is that each one of those modules is going to have a talk section of about 4 hours at the start of that month. You would then go away and you would work on different tasks across the remainder of that month for a couple of hours per week. And you would also then be doing what we call on-the-job hours on top of that. Now, the on-the-job hours are where you're practicing specific skills pertinent to what we've taught that month in your day-to-day job. And we would talk to you about which specific skills that month might count towards your on-the-job hours. So hypothetically, if we'd gone over some advanced SQL earlier on in that month, then lots of your core on-the-job tasks might look at that SQL usage in the real world situation that you are working in. The final thing that you need to know about in terms of the time commitment is that every 12 weeks, you would have a review with your line manager at work, as well as your coach on the apprenticeship program. And that would be to kind of triangulate exactly how you were going on the program so far, to review everything that you were doing, and also to kind of really get everyone on the same page in terms of your progress. So that's how it works in terms of time. And I'm now going to pass on, I think.
Thanks, Simon. So if you're interested in doing this, we basically need you to let your kind of line manager in wherever you are know. So I think in terms of doing that, what we'll do is we'll share with you an email that you can actually use if you like to send to them. But ultimately, if this is something you'd like to do, ultimately tell your manager all the positives. So like frame it as role impact. It ties directly to skills and ties directly to team goals. So not only do you benefit from it, but they benefit from all the extra knowledge that you're going to have. Address the time up front. So I think be open with them that you will need a couple of hours a week. of work time to be able to complete this. But again, taking that back to role impact, it directly affects the team, and it will ultimately upskill you. And from, I think, a business point of view, it's levy funded, so it doesn't cost them any money. So again, that's like a huge benefit. So I think if you're talking to a manager about doing this, just kind of say something along the lines of the Fosse Academy is offering associates and ultimately people that are not individuals that are not associates. So if there's other people in your teams that are not associates that are interested, we can do it for them as well. Basically the opportunity to enroll onto a funded apprenticeship program designed to further develop technical and professional skills alongside your current role. And it just means that these programs are a chance for you to learn more, and the learning is aligned to real workplace application, meaning that the skills that you develop can be applied back into day-to-day work through the program. So I think, I mean, I can't see why they'd say no. I think it's win-win-win. Like, you gain loads, they gain loads. So I think it's a great opportunity for everyone. But we will follow up with an email that you can use to send to your manager if you kind of don't feel as comfortable talking to them. So there's a few questions that a few of you have already asked that Leslie's going to go through now as well.
Okay, thanks, Danny. So obviously, good question. Can you complete the program faster? So you can, but what you've got to think about is those off-the-job hours. So each program has a specific number of off-the-job hours. So let's just say the data analyst has 500 hours. If you shorten the program, you've still got to do those 500 hours, which means you're going to your boss and asking for a bit more time away from the workplace. So just make sure, if you're wanting to complete early, that you understand the impact that it could have on your department and also your workload. You know, the programs have been designed specifically so that this is not overwhelming, so that you can carry out your day job and do the program at the same time, and it's all achievable. Next. What if you want to quit after 6 months? I love this question. Don't start is the answer. So if you are not committed, or you think, actually, you know, at the beginning, after I'm already thinking that 6 months in, I might disappear, then don't sign up. This is a big commitment, and you're having a lot of money invested in you. So one of these programs, it's around £16,000 of levy. So, you know, La Fosse is investing that in yourself to do this course. So be really clear on the commitment from yourself to get through this course. Why an apprenticeship and not a professional qual? I mean, quals are great, and we do love them, but more and more employers are looking for competency-based qualifications, and that's what an apprenticeship gives you. It gives you real life competency alongside that qual, which is much more meaningful on a CV, and for employers, that's what they're looking for. And with the new standards, you know, Simon mentioned there a bit about behaviours, and this program also shows employers you've got the right behaviours, you're committed, you can commit to something long term and achieve it. And obviously at the end of it, we would like you to all get distinction. So yeah, next. What about levels? Does having a degree affect which level you start at? So apprenticeships have changed dramatically in the last couple of years. So at one time, you had to always go up a level. Now you can go sideways, you can go backwards, you can go forwards. What you cannot do is go to a lower level qualification if you have a higher level qualification in the same subject. So that the apprenticeship team would take a look at for you. I have a set of experts, and they will make sure that you're completely eligible right up front. So you won't start the program until we've gone through that with you guys. Am I eligible to start? Okay, so if we have some of you on the call where you've not lived in the UK for 3 years, or you moved to the UK 3 or 4 years ago and you're currently still on a visa, two things. You need to have been in the UK 3 years. So if you haven't quite made it to the 3 years yet, talk to us and we'll set up a day to match when you have made it into the UK 3 years. Secondly, if you are on a visa, you could still be eligible, but your visa needs to cover the length of the apprenticeship. So if you're on a visa at the moment and you've only got 6 months left on it, the best thing to do is to either wait the 6 months out and then, progress to an apprenticeship, or get your visa renewed early so that it can cover the length of the apprenticeship. Is it paid or unpaid? It's free to you. You stay on your current salary as you work your way through the apprenticeship. But basically, Fosse and other organisations are using their levy pot to invest that money in you to move through this programme. What if I move companies midway? So because we've become a training provider, we can follow you. So what would happen if you were moving to an organisation? We would have those conversations with your new manager to see if they would support you in completing the apprenticeship. Very rarely they say no. But if they did, we can put you on a break and then pick it up at a later time also. But most of the time, as long as your role still matches what the apprenticeship is about, then we can follow you and we transfer you over. What if there's a gap between roles? So this is where we'd put you on a break and learn, and we'd keep you on the books. We'd keep in touch with you. And then the moment that we could get you into, get into your new organisation with you and set you back up, we would. Fixed or flexible hours. So obviously you've got that monthly, as Simon mentioned, 4-hour session. Everything else is agreed with you. So if the coach is coming in to meet with you, whether that's virtual or face-to-face, that would be arranged with you in agreement with your manager that you're available. The taught session will also be recorded. So if you couldn't make the taught session, you would be able to download it as well. But it is much better if you can attend so that you can ask Q&A. How are you assessed? So in many different ways. So every apprenticeship has what you call an endpoint assessment. And within that endpoint assessment, there's normally a presentation, a portfolio that you would submit, and you might do a Q&A around that portfolio. You may even have a demand-led test. What we do throughout the program is duplicate some of those methods so it gets you in mind and gets you set up to pass that endpoint assessment. But also, some of your modules will lend themselves to doing an assignment on a knowledge piece. Others, a professional discussion with your coach. Others, you might put together a case study. You might do a presentation. But that would all be set up by Simon and his team. And you'll know about that well in advance. Am I going through this, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay,
We
so
have one more question as well on the chat as well that's come through. So maybe should we ask that first and then we can come to this. So this is a question from Hassan. In relation to the applied work side, does this mean that the apprenticeship we choose must be directly relevant to our role, even if our manager said it's not a problem to do an adjacent program?
yes, so there's a lot of people, when they look at apprenticeships, they think, oh, I quite like that one over there. But it's really difficult to gather evidence across that length of program if you're not in a role that matches it. And when Ofsted come in, they would really be looking for you to be in the right role. And contractually, we've got to make sure you are in the right role and that it matches that apprenticeship. That's not to say at a later date, you can do another apprenticeship in that other role if you get the opportunity to move into it. Is that it for questions?
Yeah, I think that's... Oh no, someone's just asked another question. They have said, are apprenticeships open to existing associates if the apprenticeship is longer than the time left on their placement?
Yes. Yes. So what would happen is you would be put on the apprenticeship now, and then as you move from Fosse to your current employer at the end of your placement, we would move with you as the training provider, and you would continue your apprenticeship with your new organisation that you're employed with. Hope that makes sense.
Think that's all the questions for now.
Fab. So the enrolment journey, nice and easy. There's a contract of services that we get the employer to sign. We would then invite anybody who's interested along to an information, advice and guidance, so an IAG session. And that really just takes you through all of those apprenticeship bits. You'll be asked to complete an application. You'll carry out a skill scan. Now, skill scans are where you see how confident you feel against all of the new learning that you're going to get. Now, you don't need to put that you're super confident in everything because people are going to be reading it. Put where you really feel you are. And where you measure yourself is against, do you know absolutely everything? No. So there's some learning to take place, how much learning, and then we can work out if the program's suitable for you. This creates a training plan that comes out to you, and all of that happens within days, guys. And then you'll be invited, once all the paperwork's signed, you'll be invited to an induction. And during that induction, your learning begins. And that's the very start of your program.
Has anyone else got any other questions or anything else that they would like to ask now? No. So Jazz has shared a link in the chat to register your interest as an associate. So that's basically just a form for you to fill in. We can then contact you and let you have a conversation with you and then kind of run through next steps. Jazz will also share an email that I mentioned earlier that you can share with your manager just to check that they're on board with it. If anyone's managers are unsure and you want one of us to jump on a call with them, absolutely not a problem. And if you've got any questions, just let us know. Claudia, is there anything else that we want to add?
Oh, sorry, I just realised I was on mute. I think the only thing I would add is that what's really exciting about this is that it's a way for us to continue your learning as an associate with a more structured training program whilst you're on site. The other piece is that, as we've mentioned a couple of times, these programs are not just for associates. So whilst we might put you in a cohort with other associates who are on program at other customers, there might also be the opportunity to run a closed cohort for the organization that you're working with. So if, for example, you are part of the data team and you want to do the data analyst apprenticeship, there might be other people within your placement company who also want to do that apprenticeship with you. So we might be able to run an apprenticeship program for you all as a group. So do have a think about not just the people who you might have trained with as part of Fosse Academy, but also the people that you're working with day to day who might be interested in doing these programs, because it could be a really great way for you to learn together and develop those additional skills together. I've just noticed actually there are a couple of extra questions that have popped in. So one of the questions is the training remote or in person?
It's remote, so really accessible. You'll be able to do it from anywhere, and also you'll be able to download the recordings afterwards.
Brilliant. And then the second one is, what is the timeline and when can the training programs realistically be expected to start?
So we're hoping to start some of the onboarding towards the back end of June, and the programs will start in July.
Brilliant. Were there any other questions? If there are, please do pop those in the chat. Otherwise, this session is recorded, so we will be sharing it afterwards. And if you want to share it with anyone across your organization, you're very welcome to. Jazz has also popped a link to the brochure in the chat, but there's some more information on not just these programs, but also some of the wider business programs I talked about earlier, and also the other technical programs that we'll be running later on in the year. The ones that we've highlighted today are just the ones that we're going to be starting with as our first programs. Brilliant. Well, it looks like there's no more questions. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone. Have a lovely rest of your day. Please do fill in the form if you're interested in being part of our first programs. We look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
See ya.
you.